Y'all hear what's going on in Mexico right now? This, it don't get no better. So while liberals in America are saying "Viva la Mexico, Viva la Mexico," and waving the Mexican flags, protesting with illegal immigrants to keep them here, you know what's going on in Mexico right now? The Mexicans are kicking white liberals out of Mexico, while the ones here are protesting to keep Mexicans here.
Imagine this. Americans moving to another country for a better life, only to be met with protest asking them to leave. And in Mexico, locals are speaking out against what they say is a housing crisis fueled by American expats and digital nomads. The message, gentrification is pushing us out. And the irony, in the US, some of the same voices advocating for immigrant rights are now the ones being told they are the problem abroad. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Training Pulse Worldwide, where we explore stories shaping real conversations around the world. I'm your girl Amy, and if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a beat. So today we're breaking down the growing tension in Mexico as locals protest against rising gentrification, and the Americans at the center of it. So let's get into it.
So the reason for this is liberal Americans, America, their beautiful California up and their up blue cities, and then they dip out, sell their shit, move to Mexico, right, to live cheaper. Yet they get all the high-paying jobs in Mexico, according to the Mexicans. So they move in, everything goes up because of the high traffic of foreign people, and then they go there with their United States American entitlement for the liberals. They go to Rome and do what liberal Americans do. Because they don't know, when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So they go to Mexico with their entitlement, right? And then they work from home, work on their computer, and then they live this lavish lifestyle. So now because of that, everything, all the prices are going up, cost of living is going up. They're over there up Mexico, and the Mexicans have had enough.
Please tell me that you guys have heard about the protests that are happening in Mexico, where the Mexican people are protesting against the American migrants. Ironic, right? Yeah, these American people that are moving into their country and bringing their gentrification ways along with them, right? They're increasing the price on rent, increasing the pricing of goods, essentially kicking the locals out. What I'm trying to understand is, how is it that we have a president that just signed a bill into law where it includes a budget of $46 billion to complete a border wall when the Mexicans are literally stating, we don't want y'all here. We don't want you here. Who is this wall really for? What is this wall really for? Where is this $46 billion really going? If the Mexicans, the actual Mexican citizens, are not only stating you don't have to worry about us jumping the fence, but we actually are dealing with our own fight of getting you the fuck out of here.
So first, let's get the facts straight. In neighborhoods like Condesa and Roma in Mexico City, rent prices have skyrocketed over the past few years. And why? A big reason is the influx of remote workers from the US and other countries. And these Americans are earning in dollars but spending in pesos, which gives them an advantage in the housing market. And landlords are converting local homes into short-term rentals or pricing out local families to cater to this new high-paying crowd, and as a result, lifelong residents are being pushed out of the very neighborhoods they helped build. And Mexican residents say this isn't about hate, it's about survival, and they are watching their rent double, their neighborhoods change, and their communities break apart. And they're not just protesting people, they're protesting policies, a system that allows foreign buyers and tourists to dominate their cities without regulation. And many of the protests are calling for a better rent control, stronger housing protection for locals, and a limit on short-term rentals that prioritize tourists over residents.
You know, the irony that Mexican citizens in Mexico City are protesting American presence in their country. What in the uno reverso? Listen, that's what happens. Don't you think that the timing of it is just ironic? You know, America starts kicking all of the Mexicans out, and then Mexicans are like, No. We want you out of here too, because you're gentrifying our city. And I love that. I love that because, yeah, you want the benefit. Because believe it or not, a lot of Americans actually live in Mexico illegally. I know, it's crazy. Wow. And so no, they want tougher legislation on it. And yeah, they're pissed. And I love that for them.
And here's where the story takes a twist. In the US, many Americans, especially liberals, have protested in support of Mexican immigrants staying in the country, seeking a better life. But in Mexico, locals are now protesting for Americans to leave, not because of nationality, but because of economic pressure. And it's a deeply ironic situation. Two countries, two migration stories, two sides of the same coin. And both are driven by a need for housing, fairness, and dignity. And across social media, Americans have been weighing in, and some are calling it a moment of reflection, asking other Americans to think about the impact they have when they move abroad, and others are connecting it to what's happening in the US cities and how gentrification has affected communities in places like Brooklyn, Atlanta, and Oakland. And a few have pointed out the irony, saying now Americans are experiencing what it's like to be seen as the outsider, but most are using this as a teaching moment, highlighting that whether it's at home or abroad, unchecked gentrification always harms working class communities. And what's happening in Mexico isn't unique. Cities around the world, from Lisbon to Cape Town to Bangkok, are seeing similar movements, and locals are pushing back against being priced out of their homes by wealthier foreigners, tourists, or developers. And it's not about race, it's about resources. And gentrification happens when development prioritizes profit over people. And it's a conversation we all need to take seriously, whether we are living in our hometowns or traveling the world. So what can we learn from this? First, people have the right to protect their communities. No one wants to be priced out of their neighborhoods they've called home for generations. Secondly, just because something is legal, like moving abroad or renting an apartment, doesn't mean it's always ethical or without consequences. And third, empathy should go both ways. If we want people to be welcomed into our countries, we have to be willing to understand what our presence means when we visit theirs. So guys, what do you think? Should Americans living abroad be more aware of the impact they have on local communities? Is this just the natural effect of globalization, or is it time for stricter policies on housing and tourism? Do you think it's fair for Mexico to deport Americans while liberal Americans are protesting for their rights in the United States? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a respectful conversation. And if you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Trending Pulse Worldwide for more stories that challenge the way we see the world. So until next time, bye.